Welcome to lesson 3-7. Today we're going to be talking about sequences and equations. So a sequence is an ordered list of numbers with a pattern. So basically we have a bunch of numbers and there's a certain pattern to how much we're going up or how much we're going down. An arithmetic sequence especially is a sequence where the difference between two consecutive numbers are the same. So basically it means two numbers that are beside each other, if you take the difference or you subtract them, you'll figure out how many are between the first and the second term. So basically that pattern is going to continue. So if we're going up by 5, we're going to go up by 5 each time. So it's a certain pattern. So here's an example of an arithmetic sequence. We have 20, 30, 40, and 50. Each of these numbers we call terms. So this is one term of the sequence, the second term of the sequence, third term of the sequence, and fourth term in the sequence. Then you can find the difference by subtracting them. So if I subtracted 30 by 20, I'm going to get 10. If I subtracted 40 by 30, I'm going to get 10. If I subtract 50 by 40, I'm going to get 10. So basically we figure out that we're going up by 10 each time. So each time we go to another number, we're adding 10. And that number, 10, that we're adding each time, is called the common difference. It's common because every single term goes up that many or down that many. Okay, we're going to use our knowledge of sequences to make equations, to figure out terms that are like way far down in the list. So for example, if I wanted you to find the 50th term, we don't want to sit here and add 10 every single time until we get to the 50th term. We want to be able to use a pattern, come up with an equation so that we could figure out that term way down the line. So let's go ahead and do a few examples of this. Alright, let's go ahead and do a few examples. Now in order to do this, we're going to organize our information into a chart. So we're going to do a chart where the top part is the term number. So term number 1, term number 2, term number 3. So we're going to list those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now underneath this, we're going to put the term that's in that spot. So in the spot term number 1, it's the number 4. In spot number 2, we have 8. In spot number 3, we have 12. And in spot number 4, we have 16. So now that we have this information in a chart, we're going to start analyzing it or looking at it. So in order to get from 4 to 8, we have to add 4. In order to get from 8 to 12, we need to add 4. In order to get from 12 to 16, we need to add 4. Now, in order to make up our formula or our equation, we need to make sure that we have an n for the term number. Because the only thing we're going to know about that term is what number term it is. So if I said term 50, that means I'm going to have to use 50 in my equation somehow because we don't know anything else about that number. So in order to get that, we need to know the term number. So we're going to be making our equations based off of what number it is. So for example, to find this equation, I know I'm going to have to multiply by 4. And the reason why I know that I'm going to multiply is because I'm adding 4 each time. And if you remember back to your just basic facts, that multiplying is repeated addition. So it's adding the same thing over and over. So if we're doing 4 times 3, it's adding 4 3 times. So we're doing 4 plus 4 plus 4. That is what 4 times 3 is. So basically, we are going to go ahead and multiply 4 times the term number. So let's pretend that we didn't know that this was 8. So we are going to go ahead and try to find term number 2. So we're going to put a 4 in. So n is for the term number. So if I said, okay, here's our equation and find the second term of the sequence. This is how we would do it. We'd put 4 and then in the place of n, we'd put 2 because this is our second term. And then we're going to get 8. And is that the term that we have here? Yes, which is good. This kind of just shows us that our formula works. So, if I wanted you to go ahead and find the 50th term, you would do 4 times 50, and that would tell you what the term is at the 50 slot. So that way we don't have to go, okay, 16 plus 4, then that plus 4, and that plus 4, all the way up to the 50th term. So this way we can just skip ahead anywhere we want. Now this is really useful because if we are going to be making programs for computers or computer games, we need to have formulas going on that we create so that you don't have to just do it every single time. It's just, okay, all you have to do is plug in, and then voila, you're going to have your formula, you're going to have your action. So that's why this stuff is really important. All right, let's go ahead and look at another example. One that has maybe another step added onto it. So we are making our chart. The first part is the term number. So this is in up here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms listed. So 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So term number 1 is 7. Term number 2 is 10. Term number 3 is 13. And term number 4 is 16. So basically, we're going to have to go ahead and come up with an equation now. So first of all, we need to figure out how much are we going by each time. So I'm going up by 3 every time. I know this because in order to get from 7 to 10, you have to go up 3. So plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. And since we're doing repeated addition, it means that we're going to be multiplying by 3. So let's say that we wanted to go ahead and find 2, the second term. So let's go ahead and try to plug in 2 for this term. So if we have 3 times the second term, we're going to go ahead and get 6. But is 6 our second term? No. We need to figure out now how much do we have to add to that to be able to get 10. And if you just know your basic math facts, you know that you have to add 4 to go ahead and get 10. So we're going to do plus 4. Now let's go ahead and see if this equation works for term number 4 now. So we feel like we've figured it out. We've done one example. Now we're going to go ahead and do another one. So let's go ahead and plug in 4 for n now because 4 is the term number we're going to find. Let's pretend we don't know it's 16. So let's go ahead and plug in 3 times 4 plus 4. It should give me 16. Let's see. 3 times 4 gives me 12, and then 12 plus 4 gives me 16, which means our formula does work. So if we wanted to find the 50th term, we would do 3 times 50 and then add 4, and that would give us our 50th term. So this time we have to add something a little bit because in addition to multiplying, we're also going to have to add a little bit each time so that we make sure that we are starting off on a good track. Let's go ahead and look at our third example. Now, in this example, we have 3 terms. 1, 2, 3. Our first term is 4. Our second term is 6. And our third term is 8. Okay, so if you just know your basic math facts with counting by 2s, you'll know that we're going up by 2 each time. So, plus 2. Alright, so we need to go ahead and come up with a formula for this. So, we know that we're multiplying by 2 because we're adding 2 each time, which is repeated addition. So we're going to be doing 2 times n, or the number of, the term number. So let's say that we didn't know that the second term was 6. But we're going to go ahead and plug in 2 for n because we're going to find the second term. So 2 times 2 gives us 4. But is 4 our second term? No. So we're also going to have to figure out now what do we have to add to it. And if you know that if you have to add 2 to get to 6. So we're going to add 2 and we should get 6. Let's go ahead and try to find term number 3. Now we're going to hopefully have 8. So let's go ahead. If we do 2 times n, which n is a term number, so we're finding term number 3. So 2 times 3 plus 2. So 2 times 3 gives me 6, and then plus 2 gives me 8, so it does work. So if we're going to find the 100th term of the sequence, we're going to do 2 times 100, add 2 to that, and we're going to be on track. Alright, so let's go ahead and find the equation for this last example. So we have 4 terms in the sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4. And our first term is 2, our second term is 3, our third term is 4, and our fourth term is 5. So if you realize, we are counting up by 1 every time. So we're doing plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. So we're adding 1 every time. So now we're going to be multiplying by 1. So let's go ahead and try to find, for an example, the second term. So since we're finding the second term, we're going to plug in 2 for n, because n is our term number. So we're going to do 1 times n. So we're going to do 1 times 2, and we're going to get 2, right? Is that our second term? No. So we also have to add something. So let's go ahead and add 1. So if I would add 1, I would get 3. Let's go ahead and try to find the 4th term. So if I was going to find the 4th term, I'm going to plug in 4 for n because n is our term number. So we have 1 times 4 plus 1. 4 times 1 gives us 4, and then plus 1 gives us 5. And is that our 4th term? Yes. So in order to find like the 50th term, we would just plug in 50 for n, add 1, and we will be where we're supposed to be. Alright, if this lesson was a little bit confusing, go ahead and rewind it, watch it again. Look at these examples one more time. If you need to, look in your book. There's some more examples in there. And of course, as always, you can always bring in questions to me tomorrow, and that would be awesome. Now let's go ahead and do some problems on your own. Alright, you have 2 problems to do for me. Now in order to complete these problems, you need to write the equation and find the specified term. So in number 1, you have 10, 11, 12, 13. You're going to go ahead and A, make the chart with the term numbers and the terms. Then B, you're going to write the equation. And C, you're going to find the 10th term. So plug in 10 for n and solve to find the 10th term. In number 2, you have 2, 6, 10, 14. You're going to go ahead and write the chart with the term numbers and the terms. And then B, you're going to find the equation. And then C, you're going to go ahead and plug in 14 for n and solve for the 14th term. Alright, good luck. We'll see what you get tomorrow.